Hello there.
Hello there.
Hey guys, hello and welcome back to another Star Wars video. Are you ready for some more Mando? Because I'm bringing the goods with this one. It is I coming at you once again, your friend and your favourite galactic hostess, Star Wars Meg. And today, I've got a pretty crazy theory for you for the Mandalorian and Grogu. And we have a couple of months before we find out if it's right or not, because it's one of those that's either going to hit the nail on the head or be entirely wrong. There is no in between with this one. At the moment, I'm kind of 50-50 about it. I would be more confident if this was 2020 or 2021, but because Lucasfilm has wasted so many opportunities in the last few years, I have doubts, I won't lie to you, and it's something which I touched upon a couple of days ago, but I feel like it warrants its own proper breakdown, and this connects to Mando Season 3, and even what's going on in Ahsoka. And the basic premise is this: at a time where fans are wondering who is the main villain of the film, is it the Hutt? Is it the Remnant? What if it's someone who's been right there in front of our faces the entire time? Sigourney Weaver's Colonel Ward. And you might be thinking, hang on, how does that work? She's a New Republic colonel, but she's a bad guy?
Yes.
What if she's a double agent? And what if the movie is going to double down on a theme from the third season that connects to New Republic incompetence? What if this is once again someone who was recruited into the amnesty program, someone supposedly reformed by the good guys, by Mon Mothma's government, but is actually a secret agent of the Remnant? With Gideon gone, that could mean Grand Admiral Thrawn, or one of the other warlords. So let's break this down. The evil empire has fallen, and remnants remain scattered throughout the galaxy. As the fledgling New Republic works to protect everything the rebellion fought for, they've enlisted the help of legendary Mandalorian bounty hunter Din Djarin and his young apprentice, Grogu. But it seems like the person who's giving Mando jobs in the movie is not Carson Taver or Zeb, but rather Colonel Ward, a mysterious base commander who gives Din Djarin his orders, and someone who has the deck of cards with a list of Imperial fugitives. But what if this character is not everything she seems? You see, at Star Wars Celebration, Jon Favreau teased some big surprises in the movie, but could this entail some major twists? Every season so far has had them, from the first episode with Grogu, to Luke in Season 2, to the betrayal of Elia Kane in Season 3 and the cloning project with Moff Gideon. Mando is jam-packed with surprises, and the movie is no exception. And for this particular installment, Favreau has hinted at some big clues in the merch, and Star Wars fans have noticed, for the Lego brickheads for the movie, the wording of this set is very suspicious. It's titled Allies and Villains. The heroes are pretty obvious, but there's only one apparent villain. Is Colonel Ward the other? Now this might be one of the clues Favreau hinted at, but what about in-universe? Away from the merchandise, away from Lego, there are a few things about the character that just don't add up. Let's focus on those. I find it a bit strange that this close to release, the synopsis for the movie only lists 3 stars: Pedro Pascal, Jeremy Allen White as Rotter, and Sigourney Weaver as Ward. Lucasfilm has been making a very big deal of her Star Wars debut. After all, Sigourney Weaver is sci-fi royalty, and as a result, surely she's not going to be wasted. Lucasfilm does waste some pretty big cameos, but for the first movie in 7 years, surely she isn't just going to be relegated to a desk jockey. Well, thanks to behind-the-scenes photos shown at Celebration, as well as Hasbro's Black Series figure, we know she's also an X-Wing pilot. And this has confused a few fans. I've seen people say, this is incompatible. Surely you can't be both. Well, it turns out, according to both canon and legend sources, you can. It's not very common, especially with the rank of colonel. She's more like a high-level administrator, but it can still happen, unless the context for the pilot suit is deceiving. Maybe she escapes Adelphi in a coordinated exit, especially if she's been feeding information to the Remnant and she knows something is about to go down. More on this in just a moment, but on the surface, the X-Wing pilot thing isn't a major red flag. That to me doesn't have any bearing on her allegiances. But what does strike me as strange is the mystery behind the character, and the curious nature of her being posted on Adelphi base. Because while we focused a lot on the mission against the AT-ATs on the ice planet, another major mission in the movie is Din working against Imperial forces on Adelphi, near where the New Republic has an outpost, and that just so happens to be where Colonel Ward is based. It looks as though there's going to be an Imperial occupation of the planet, and could the reason the Remnant seems to infiltrate so easily be the fact that Ward was feeding them information from the outpost? And if this theory is correct, then it means Lucasfilm has been hiding the Mandalorian and Grogu's villain in plain sight. It also explains why marketing this film has been so tough, because the entire plot is tied to a major betrayal. And also focus on some things that Colonel Ward has said. She uses the right lingo, says it's about preventing another war, and it just so happens that this language is used within the New Republic amnesty program to de-radicalize former Imperials. But as we know from Mando Season 3 with Elia Kane, some members of the amnesty program retain their former loyalties. They're working for the Remnant against the New Republic from within.
I shall deal with our Mandalorian friends.
And this looks very bad on the New Republic. And it's important to remember that this entire post-Episode 6 era is setting up the rise of the First Order, the fall of the New Republic, their demilitarization, their policies, and how it paves the way for instability and for the Remnant to rise, and one faction in the unknown regions to found the First Order. Is Colonel Ward someone that was reformed and worked her way through the system? Or maybe she was originally part of the Alliance, worked her way through the New Republic, and then defected? If it's the former, then Colonel Ward might have been a Palpatine loyalist, someone part of the old Imperial regime, who after the Galactic Civil War was put in the amnesty program. They recruit them, reassign them, use them for their skills, and rehabilitate them. She wouldn't be the first person to be reassigned to a new post, but she might be the one using them, their intel, their bases, and feeding the information to a warlord, despite how scattered and fragmented the Remnant is during this time. And the first thing you notice about the New Republic amnesty program is that it feels like a prison under the guise of rehabilitation, and you realize that in some ways the New Republic has become the one thing it swore to destroy. There is something deeply unsettling and authoritarian about it, the idea that if you think differently, if you make any mistakes, you're going to pay the ultimate price. And the sad thing is, someone like Pershing was doing everything right. He wanted to use his cloning skills for good, whereas a legitimate threat like Elia Kane, who throws well-intentioned candidates under the bus, go unnoticed as they continue to spy for the Shadow Council. And there's a good chance Colonel Ward did the same. She knew all of the right things to say to graduate, to get assigned a new job, and ultimately she knows how to play their game. Former Imperials who are successfully reprogrammed are sent to the Reintegration Institute. They move out and get to work for the New Republic. Ironically, Colonel Ward might be their poster child for a success story, but in reality, she might be more dangerous than we know. And by the end of the film, she might be arrested, but it puts the New Republic to shame, and that's something Mando's been doing for all 3 seasons of the show. Even in Ahsoka, under the New Republic's nose, there were Imperial loyalists working at the shipyard on Corellia, helping Morgan Elsbeth, helping Thrawn, and they were hiding in plain sight. So think of all the other incompetencies that the New Republic just doesn't know about. So I would wager, if there was one person we've been introduced to in the trailers who's going to be a bad guy, aside from the obvious remnants, aside from the Hutts, it's Colonel Ward. What do you guys think? Share your thoughts on this theory in the comments down below.